starboard side and swam for about 50 yards to get away from a sinking ship. And looked around, and all I could see was the ship turned turtle and her two propellers just gradually, slowly turning. And people said, "What were your thoughts?" I said, "My only thought in my mind, there goes my home." Because everything I owned was in that home. You know? I wasn't worried, I wasn't scared, but it was a rather strange feeling to think you're losing your home. You know?
Yes.
By this time the Houston was still firing, but on fire, and eventually she disappeared out of sight, so we knew she'd been sunk. And so then it was a matter of survival. As it turned out, we ended up with approximately half our crew lost in the battle. When dawn broke, this was about 20 past midnight, I suppose, by the time we got settled in the water. By dawn, you could see what was happening. There's something like 6 Japanese ships being sunk in the bay. Who sunk them, we don't know. Japanese records show they fired something like 80 torpedoes at our 2 ships. And we fired all our torpedoes. We wonder whether they had some of their own ships.
Yes.
With all that. It's interesting because out of the sunken Japanese ships that have been landing their troops on the shore, I'd been paddling around for trying to get one of the islands in Sunda Straits, and around about 8 o'clock, I wouldn't have a clue what time it was, I nearly got to one island, but the current was taking me away through the straits, so I got out of that. And some of our guys came along in one of the lifeboats off one of the sunken Jap ships, so they pulled me on board that. And that's how we became prisoners. We were trying to go through the straits in the Japanese lifeboat, and one of the destroyers came along and held pistols at us and signalled us to come on board, and we climbed on board.
How long had you actually been in the water?
About 12 hours.
12 hours. And did you have any flotation?
Oh, I had a May West.
May West?
May West, things just blow up and around it.
Yeah. So when you went into the water with the May West on, did you have any difficulty with it?
No, we sort of knew what to do, because every time we went to sea you had to, where you say May West, it's not blown up, but you had to have it around your waist. So as soon as the things happened, you just automatically made certain that it was ready.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, there's so much stuff floating around for people to hang on to.
Yes.
None of our lifeboats were working. They had all been shattered. As far as I can remember, we had one Carly float still going, and the Carly float kept the wounded in that.
Yes.
And so after I decided I was drifting towards the straits, and I was a good swimmer. I've always been a swimming club. I knew exactly what to do. So I headed for land, and that's when I got picked up by the Japanese lifeboat.
Yeah. And where did they land you?
Yeah, well
maybe before we go to that, how did they treat you on the boat?
Very, very, with a lot of respect. They wanted to know who we were, and when we found, Billy McCall from Fremantle, when we were floating around during the night, a destroyer pulled up next to our group, said, English voice said, "Who are you?" And Billy McCall said, "Aussies is nothing proud of it." And they were looking for their own man.
Yes.
So, so by the time we got on the destroyer, we weren't too certain what the reception would be like, but they were good. They gave us eye drops. We're covered in oil. They gave us eye drops to go in our eyes. They gave us water to drink. Anybody who wanted a cigarette, they gave them a cigarette. And No, they were very kind, sailor to sailor.
So then, what happened? They wouldn't have kept you on their warship, would they?
They kept us on for 24 hours.
Yes.
By the time they got us, it was midday, and it was very, very hot, and they made us take our clothing off. All I had on was a pair of football shorts. I'd got rid of my stuff in the water, and so we had to throw all our clothing away, including except I still had my money belt on, and they let me keep that. And then they gave us all the G-string put on. And that became our clothing virtually for the rest of the war. G-string, great stuff.
Yes.
And they settled us down on the quarter deck of the destroyer, and it was so hot that we got them to understand we wanted to cover, and they put a big tarpaulin over for us to huddle underneath. There would be a couple of hundred on board by this time. And by the time evening came, they gave us a biscuits to eat.
Yes.
We just sat out. I went to sleep on a coil of rope and slept for 12 hours. And the next morning I was right as a button again.
Yes.
And from there we've taken over we had to row ourselves over on a lifeboat across to one of the invasion vessels, and we were put down in the hold of one of the invasion vessels. And they didn't maltreat us, so the seamen on board the invasion vessel. Again, we were just fed with rice in our hands and some water. Give us a ladle of water to drink. And we had several days on board. If we wanted to go to the toilet, we had to go up and over the side of the ship, but only so many at a time. Again, their seamen, they were quite kind to us. They didn't try to be funny with us. And till we were shifted out after several days, again by lifeboats across to the mainland of Java on the Sunda Straits, and from there taken by trucks inland to a little town called Sarang, and in Sarang was a little tiny, small village, but it had a theatre, picture theatre, and a jail there. So some were put in the jail and some were put in the theatre, and that's where most of our crew ended up in the theatre. It was empty, just a concrete floor, and we just herded in there, and there was just enough room for everybody to sit down. That was about all. There's no way for everybody to lie down, but you could sit down.
Now, you said most of your crew, did you really get nearly 300 of your crew together at the one location?
No. So, well, we didn't know what had happened until we got to the theatre, and we found that we had a basic number of our crew there, and we didn't know what happened to the rest. But in the meantime, in other Japanese lifeboats that had got through into Sunda Straits without survivors in, one got across the Java, across to Sumatra with 12 on board, and they took about 6 weeks before they captured. They tried to get up through Sumatra coast heading for Ceylon, but they got captured. Another boatload of survivors with only 10 on board, I think, they got right through to Tillachap on the south coast of Java before being captured. They were hoping to get some food there and sail to Australia. Another groups had got ashore on the mainland of Java in Sunda Straits, and they were several weeks before they were all captured together. And so we were spread out because they were trying to go able hand to try and make contact with, say, friendly troops like Dutch or Australians. They had no idea where they were going, but they eventually captured.
Now, Gavin Campbell, was he with you?
No, Gavin wasn't with us at that stage, no.
What about Surgeon Sam Stenning?
He was with us, yes.
Was he?
Yeah,
Yes.
he was with us.
Yeah.
He was quite useful to us in the theatre because we had a few wounded blokes there. And he was there to help with the wounded. Not that we had anything to help with. See, our captors were invasion people. They weren't set up to look after prisoners.
No.
And so they gave us what they could of some bandages and that, but they didn't have any medicines that they give us. And, but so we used to all take it in turns, carry the wounded out. So outside the theatre, and it was just an alley by the side of the theatre, and they dug a big hole, and that was a toilet. It was all right until it rained, and it rained every night at 4 o'clock, you know. And so the latrine used to get full of rainwater, which is very difficult when you're trying to use them, squatting them.
Yeah.
Anyway, we used to have to carry the wounded out for ablution purposes.
Yes.
And I remember one, Bill B, Buzzer B, he was one of them.
Yes.
He was one of them. So we had we had interesting little point there that they counted us twice a day, see that we had enough, nobody had escaped, until one day they found one missing, and it was Freddie Laslett, little Freddie Laslett, he's missing. Anyway, about 6 hours later, he should be dragged into the theatre with Freddie Laslett. And they bashed hell out of him with rifle butts and all that. Bad man escaped. Well, he had escaped. And it was easy enough to escape. But the local ladies had handed him in again. So they said, this man, and off he went. So we thought, goodbye Fred, we won't see you again.
Yes.
Until about 2 days later, he should walk in with a Japanese armband around his arm, a ladder over his shoulder, and he was a town electrician. You might have heard this story. He got over the jail, and the jail had the power of being an electrician, a wireman. He said, I fix your electric and you not. Okay. So they made him the town electrician because they didn't have anybody else who could do that.
Yeah.
It is right.
Fantastic.
So,
I'd just like to follow through on Stenning for a sec. Did he have any of his sick berth attendants with him that you can recall?
not that I'm aware of.
How long did you personally keep contact with him?
I think from memory, and I could be correct on this, after about 6 weeks we were all put into trucks and taken to Java, to Batavia. Now, whether he was with us then, I don't know. But I would think so. I would think he would have been segregated for us at the cycle camp, I think. We were all just huddled together, and he would have been well dressed like us with a G-string on, I suppose.
Yeah. So when did you have your first contact with the 2nd, 3rd machine gunners and the 2nd?
Well, after 6 weeks we taken by trucks to Batavia, and were taken off the trucks there and taken into the camp, into the cycle camp. And all these army fellows looked at, who in the hell are you guys? Because there we are, 6 weeks, we hadn't, still had oil covered on it, we all just had G-strings on. No boots or shoes, we hadn't had a shave for 6 weeks. And I said, who in the hell are you guys? We said, we came to save you guys. We are from the Navy, HMAS Perth. They said, didn't do a very good job saving us. But no, that was our introduction to a prison camp.
Now, how long were you there?
We were there for nearly 6 months, which was it gave us a chance to get better conditions on because we'd lost a fair bit of weight by this time, and the army cooks there looked after us well, and then we went out on working parties, and working parties were desirable because they got you out of the camp, and I was always a scavenger, and anything that wasn't nailed down was mine, and I got pencils and writing pads and things like that, because I thought I might have to write something down, and that became the basis of my diary. And so I had my pencils, I kept them sharp and kept them going. And my diaries, I kept them together. When they fell to bits, I sewed them together with a bit of string, and it gave me something to do mentally.
When did you have your first contact with Dutch prisoners of war?
Well, there were some Dutch in this camp. Mainly we had Americans in the camp. We had Dutch, British, and who else? Some of the Americans, Houston were there, but another crowd came up, and they were the artillery crowd, and they came in all dressed. They were beautifully dressed.
Oh, yeah, well,
not like us.
No, well, they were captured with all their stores.
Yes, but they were nice guys. They looked after the Houston guys well, because they had money and they had.
Now the Americans had two doctors with them. Yeah. One was a Lumpkin, who died in Burma.
Yeah,
the other one was Epstein, Commander Epstein.
Yeah, I heard of him too. Yes.
Okay, so when were you shifted out of Java?
I think it was about October 1942, and we were heard on board these ships, of course, the usual thing, and we had no idea where we were going until we could tell by the stars or sunshine, wherever, whichever seemed pointed north, south, east or west, we knew where we were going. And we thought at one stage we were heading towards my memory's starting again. What's the island that where the lost all the prisoners were? The Mars. Borneo.
Yes.
And I thought we were heading for Borneo, but then we changed, and we went through the Straits into Singapore. Yeah. And that's when the first thing we knew about Singapore.
So you're still in your G-strings?
Oh, yes.
Well dressed in your G-strings?
Oh, well dressed. Yeah. Oh, they thought a lot of us when we landed in Singapore, they called us the rabble from Java.
Yes.
Because none of us had a shave, and we...
Now that's really true. They called you the Java rabble, did they?
Yeah.
To your face, or was that just something that you heard?
I believe that was referred to one of our officers by the commanding officer of the army in Singapore.
Yeah, Gallagher.
Yeah, he referred to us as the rabble from Java.
Yeah.
And he said to a British gunner, warrant officer who was on board first. He was the only senior one amongst our group. And he said, "Oh, you have to get all your men shaved." That's all you give without order and writing. He said, "Because in the Navy I'm allowed to give those men permission to wear beards, sir. And if you don't give me that order in writing," so he wouldn't